bridging industry, consultants, and conformity assessment stakeholders. And the core pillars of the impact is voluntary awareness, virtual learning, high impact programs, and industry collaborations. And the high impact programs are signature events, which normally we conduct World Accreditation Day, World Quality Day. So such type of events are regular feature in the CCC, which we have been conducting from the year one onwards. And CCC's landmark events consistently draw tremendous interest, serving as powerhouse platforms for thought leadership on evolving standards, deep dives into compliance mandates, multi-stakeholder networking across industries, addressing critical industry shifts and standard upgrades. And we are proud to say that our YouTube viewership has crossed 44K plus, and our website visitors is 9 lakh plus. And because of our 6 years of impact, a sustained journey of knowledge dissemination and ecosystem empowerment. And all these figures which you see, which you saw just now, are all organic in nature. And YouTube and digital outreach, CCC's active YouTube channel. You can view our YouTube channel. Even this program recording will be uploaded in the is going live in YouTube now, and the recording will be available for the viewers to see and view it later. And it has become a valuable repository of knowledge on standards, certifications, and regulations. And to access these sessions recordings, many viewers have gained the knowledge because of our these sessions videos at their convenience and stay updated on critical compliance developments. And as I already mentioned, all digital footprints are 100% organic, a reflection of genuine trust and relevance in the ecosystem. And we have a pan-Indian virtual learning breaking geographical barriers. By strategically focusing on virtual learning formats, CCC effectively connects with a diverse pan-Indian audience, delivering timely compliance insights nationwide regardless of location. Live and recorded sessions for flexible access, coverage across all major Indian regions, and timely update on standards and regulations. And training and operational excellence, we are conducting professional training programs which are routinely designed and executed programs addressing quality, food safety, medtech frameworks, and compliance mandates. And structured operations, we are having a governing council, and we are having membership and regular members, and also honorary members like Mr. Anil Jawhari is one of our mentor, who is a ex-CEO of NABCB. And nominal registration fees is collected for select specialized sessions to ensure transparent and sustainable association management while keeping core value accessible. And the content which is shared are very rich and of good quality. And the official website, you can view our official website, active blog and social channels deeply are attuned to regulatory developments from medical device compliance to food safety conclaves. And CCC is seen as a trusted industry partner where we have the connect with the industries, especially the trade body collaborations. And CCC's credibility and robust network make it a preferred partner for prominent trade bodies seeking to co-host high-impact collaborative programs and national stakeholder consultations. And TIC agencies outreach and sector boards routinely collaborate with the CCC, leveraging its trusted platform for consultant outreach, capacity building, and ecosystem awareness. And I request every audience who are participating in this session to connect with CCC to be an indispensable bridge empowering professionals and enterprises to navigate complex standards, certifications, and regulatory compliance ecosystems with absolute confidence. So those who are not members of CCC, I take this opportunity to request you to become members of CCC and get the benefit and enjoy the consultant journey in your life. And today we have two gentlemen who have immediately agreed to share their knowledge on DPDP Act. the veteran person whom I am going to now introduce is Mr. Ramesh Bashyam, who is a cybersecurity and information security advisor who has more than 4 decades of experience in the IT and services industry, providing software solutions to different vertical industries in the areas of functional and technical consulting, system design, user requirement analysis, software development, implementation and training program with specialization on commercial applications. And I have gone through his resume. Uh, no words to really appreciate his commendable work. That itself is getting reflected in the list of awards and certifications what he has achieved so far. Uh, in fact, it's a very long list, and also he is part of many institutional membership, especially the Andhra Chamber of Commerce. He is he's the chairman of the ICT subcommittee, and also the Digital Security Association of India, DESI. He is a trustee and honorary treasurer, and also past chairman of Event Management Committee, Cyber Security of India, past vice president, Cyber Society of India, Chennai, past joint secretary and committee member, Institute of Directors, Tamil Nadu State Chapter, Chennai, honorary treasurer, CSA Chennai Chapter of, and also past honorary treasurer of CSA Chennai Chapter, past senior member, CAO Club, past member, Project Management Institute, Pennsylvania, USA, and is a life member of Computer Society of India, Mumbai, All India Management Association, IMA, New Delhi, and Operational Research Society of India, Calcutta, and Cyber Society of India, Chennai. So we are very happy to have Mr. Ramesh Pashyam here in this session. So we welcome you, sir. My hearty welcome to you for this session, for sharing your knowledge. Welcome, sir. Welcome to this session. And the next gentleman. Yes, madam. Madam?
No, proceed. You can proceed, sir.
Now, I'm happy to introduce Mr. Vinod Sendil, who is a cybersecurity educator, author and mentor. And in fact, he is a author of 13 online courses, which is widely subscribed courses on cybersecurity, and 10 plus years of impact building awareness, skills, and career in cybersecurity. He has trained in person more than 60,000 people in various institutions, and he has tutored over 10 lakh learners online in the last decade through Infisec, active on leading online certification platforms such as Udemy and Simply Learn. And his hacking defines who he is, and he enjoys imparting knowledge that transforms lives. And a feather to the cap is the recognition he has got by global leaders like from Yahoo. He has been congratulated personally by Mr. David Filo, co-founder of Yahoo, for his contribution to improving the cyberspace and also for his exceptional bug detection skills and exemplary work towards aiding security for, and he was congratulated by none other than Mr. Bill Gates, co-founder of the Microsoft Corporation, and also in recognition of his contributions to the government. Mr. Vinod was congratulated by Mr. N. Rangaswamy, the ex-chief minister of Pondicherry. So, so we are very happy to have him in this today's panel, and he is going to deliver his keynote address on this DPDP Act. Welcome you, sir. I heartily welcome on behalf of CCC to this session. And now I request Mr. Ramesh Bashyam to deliver his lecture. Thank you. Thank you.
First, I would.
Sir, you have to unmute.
I'm on mute only.
Sir, now you
Can you able to
unmuted,
hear me?
sir.
Your signals are a little weak, I think, sir, now.
Yes, sir, you can continue, sir.
First, I would like to thank the Consultant Consortium of India for providing an opportunity to conduct some kind of a webinar for the DPDP Act for the benefit of the society. Can you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We
Yes,
are
sir.
able to hear
Yes,
you.
sir. Fine. The objective of this webinar is to mainly to protect the personal data. Hello. The objective of the webinar is to create mainly to protect the personal data. For the personal data, it's maybe Before moving into this, just I want to give the flow of how the journey continues with the DPDP Act. In 2017, K.S. Pattusamy versus Union of India, they fought a case, and Supreme Court of India has reaffirmed the Right to Privacy Act. And in 2018, the Justice PNC Sri Krishna Committee has formed a draft DPDP bill, PDP bill, Personal Data Protection Bill, and in 2019 it has been forwarded to the Joint Parliamentary Committee. In 2021, it has been the bill has been released. Subsequently, due to various recommendations and iterations, in 2022 the bill has been withdrawn, and MeitY has requested to release some kind of recommendations from the public for the public review. And in 2023, the bill has been released, and the President has given assent for the DPDP bill, and formally it was released on DPDP 2023. In 2025, the DPDP rules has been promulgated, and currently the DPDP 2023 bill was fully operational with the rules of DPDP 2025. And the objective of this webinar is to protect the personal data. Personal data in the sense it may be a person, or maybe an organization, or maybe a company. The list goes on. When it comes to the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill has been applicable to all the domain industries across all vertical industries, including for institutions also. The government of India has given 18 months deadline time from November 2025 to till May 13, 2027. Organizations, they need to implement DPDP Act as on May 13, 2000. The deadline is May 13, 2027. They need to implement it, and consent mechanisms has to be in place on or before November 2026. When it comes to, because it's applicable to all the industries, let us focus more on the manufacturing industry, because the topic which has been given by Consultant Consortium of India's DPDP Act for Industry Readiness, mainly for the manufacturing. When it comes to manufacturing, the HR department plays a major role for collecting the personal data. It may be on employee data, and the families of the employees, mainly to protect the insurance, and contractors, laborers, and biometric devices, and visitors data. All this belongs to because the HR department is going to play a major role on this. Procurement and procurement and sales marketing department also, they are collecting a vast amount of personal data from vendors registration, supplier data, and sales and marketing, they are collecting the customers data, dealer data, distributors data. All this personal data needs to be protected by the top organization in consultation with the top management committee. And the top management committee, top management needs to identify a specialist, especially on data privacy, and he needs to be fully focused on the importance of the data also, and that they need to identify and that has to be re-designated as a data fiduciary. Data fiduciary plays a major role in the organization. He is the person who is going to collect all the personal data, and he is going to coordinate with all the stakeholders. And before processing any personal data in the organization or for any individual, first he needs to get a consent from the individual. First, you need to get a consent from the individuals. The consent part should be simple, and it should be understandable by a layman also. The consent mechanism needs to play a major role on this. Without consent, the data needs not to be processed at any cost. And data fiduciary also needs to play a major role on the other side also. When it comes to manufacturing organizations, materials and machines are not the one, including the data fiduciary. The data is also as an asset for the organization. Nowadays, the manufacturing organization, I can call it as they are also part of the data fiduciary. Let us focus more on because most of the manufacturing organizations, most of the applications has been interconnected. Even in the factories also, the connected devices, sensors, where they are collecting all the data, because in the digital era, data plays a major role on this. And when it comes to the data fiduciary needs to play a major role. For what purpose the data is being collected, the purpose limitation needs to be carried out. For what purpose the data needs to be carried out, and how they are going to collect the data, what is the retention period they are going to hold it, and what is the data needs to be processed on a lawful basis, and what purpose the data needs to be collected, and how they are going to store it, whether it should be in the encrypted mechanism or they needs to when it comes to security, then the data needs to be anonymized. The data fiduciary needs to play a major role on this. If there is huge volume of data, if it is for large scale organization, the government of India has given the label called a significant data fiduciary. But in a mid-scale organization, they may call it as a data fiduciary. He is going to play a major role with the stakeholders. And how long the retention period is, the data needs to be carried out, how long the retention period needs to be taken into consideration. That also we need to take into consideration in consult with the individuals and as well as the organization. And when it comes to the breach, the data in case if any breaches has happened in the organization, the data fiduciary needs to inform to the concerned parties, including the individuals and as well as the top management and data protection board also. The government of India is going to form a committee, data protection board. Still, it's not at framed. The data fiduciary also needs to protect, need to communicate to the data protection board within a span of 20 to 72 hours. If there is any violation is there, the penalty would be on the higher side. The minimum is 15 lakhs, maximum is 250 crores. Imagine. And because government of India has given a deadline on May 13, 2027. Since the organization, in case if the organization has not taken into consideration about the DPDP, first they need to create an inventory where all the personal data belongs to, whether it's from HR department, from procurement and purchase department, from finance department, from manufacturing department. They need to create an inventory and they need to perform a gap fit analysis. Once the gap fit analysis has been done, then they need to perform they need to do the risk analysis, and then once the risk has been identified, then risk treatment to be done, and finally it should be on the risk treatment to be done, and it should be on a it should be on a continual basis. It should be monitored and tracked on a regular basis. And the purpose is they needs to collect some kind of relationship with the international customers also. In case if the organization is tied up with the international organizations like European Union or in USA, the organization also, apart from DPDP, they needs to fulfill their commitments also, like GDPR. In the European Union, they formed a data protection called General Data Protection Regulation Act. They need to fulfill their correspondences also. Similarly, the European Union also, wherever they tied up with the Indian organization, they need to fulfill the DPDP also, because the cross-border transfer of data plays a major role on this. To build a trust and to gather some kind of confidence level with the stakeholders, the business continuity to be also be established on a continuous basis, mainly to sustain the business continuity in the interest of the stakeholders. With this, I will conclude it, and I will ask Mr. Vinod Sendil to take the lead.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Just switching on the camera for, yeah, hi. So let me quickly share my screen before I get started. Can you all please confirm if the screen is visible right now?
Yes. Yes. Your sharing of the screen, not yet.
Is it visible now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, excellent. So, okay, for the benefit of all, I just thought I'll introduce myself on the camera before we get started. Hi everyone. So my name is Vinod Senthil, popularly known as Vino in this domain, cybersecurity. I've been in the industry for the last 20 years now, and all that black hair that you see is not black, it is gray hair. And yeah, it's such a pleasure to connect with all of you, especially post noon, and the topic being DPDP, a topic very close to heart. And it's such a pleasure connecting with you. Please feel free to use the chat option that's available right there. Any questions, any thoughts that you have, feel free to post your message there. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to share my understanding of DPDPA and what we have been doing with regards to some DPDPA engagements that we are already doing with quite a few clients already. And I'll also share my experiences of what you should consider doing, right? In case you are a lean team, you don't have someone to support you, maybe this particular program can give you a heads up about what all you should probably start doing within your organization to ensure you start becoming DPDPA compliant or getting the roadmap or the journey set for the DPDPA. Am I clear? Okay. Yeah. And just to give you a background, I'm more of a tech person. I have been more of a hands-on person, more like a pen tester, vulnerability assessor, then eventually got into audits and so on. Along with me, I have Balachandra, who is part of the team here, and he represents CISO Genie, the governance, risk, and compliance tool that we use for any of our compliance engagement. For example, DPDP, GDPR, ISO 27001, HIPAA, PCI DSA, anything, right? So this particular platform is a governance risk compliance platform, which means that even if we don't know about the compliance, we log into this tool, and the tool will step by step guide us what to do, what not to do, what evidence to collect, and all that, right? So it is almost like a co-pilot or a co-worker with us who is AI driven, who knows it all and supports us, right? So to get started, I will take the liberty to switch off my camera, yeah, just to ensure the bandwidth is used properly. Yeah, am I audible? Can you please reconfirm?
Yes, you're very much audible.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Do I have to give access to Balachandran Shivakumar?
Yeah, maybe what I thought is, ma'am, I wanted to ensure this particular program, which was planned by 3:30 to 5, and
Right.
I think it's around 4 o'clock now.
Ah.
So I will plan to take around 45 minutes of the session, right? And post which I will hand over the session to Bala.
Perfect.
Bala, what he will do is he will just show practically how and what to do in DPDPA with the software. What is the PI data? How is it getting detected? How is it classified? What to do next?
Yeah.
All that, right? So a 45-minute of a deep dive theory session. Along with that, a 15-minute hands-on practical session driven by Bala, and maybe a few minutes for frequently asked questions that we can take from the audience, right?
Perfect.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll do that.
Excellent. Thank you, Bala. Thank you, everyone. So to just get started, once again, thanks for joining in. This is a focused practical session built specifically for manufacturing target audience, right? I was told that the target audience is just going to be around manufacturing space, so my focus is around that. Number one. Number two is the DP in the DPDPA, right? Have you ever noticed DP in DPDPA and the GDPR? There is also a DP, right? So what does that actually means? In DPDPA, there is a DP, and GDPR, there is a DP, right? So what does that means? It simply means data protection for both GDPR and DPDPA, right? It is short form, but two different laws, right? I will tell you when I mean what, right? So before I get started, I want to start with the quick practical day-to-day approach, right? Say, for example, okay, I want you to think of this. Let's start with something that is completely ordinary, a normal shift start on your plant floor, right? In your company, in your plant floor, in your manufacturing unit, a regular normal shift that starts. A worker badges in with the biometric attendance. That is HR and workforce data moving already, right? Number one. Number two, someone logs into the ERP to check if the production plan or say a vendor portal gets checked for a purchase order status, or a dealer's CRM gets updated with the service call, and IoT sensor quietly pings the machine's health data on the cloud, right? Just think of this scenario, right? Even before the first chai that you have in the morning, right? Before the first tea that you have in the morning, how many systems on your shop floor has already touched someone's personal data, right? With this example, right? Think of that. None of this feels like sharing actual data. We all think that sharing a data is putting something on a USB file or attachment on an email and sharing it. But none of these actually look like sharing of data. But looking at it a little more in detail, it is just an ordinary morning or ordinary afternoon, and we are already sharing personal data and we don't even know that we are sharing, right? Okay, that's one. Number two, so what actually makes a data personal? Right? Think of this question. What actually makes a data really personal? It's data that can point back to a specific person, either on its own or by combining it with something else, right? For example, right, I just want you to think of this. If I tell a name or an Aadhaar number or a mobile number, it is a clear identifier that it goes back to a specific person. Yes or no? Right? But think of it a little more in detail. There are other ways, right? For example, a machine's operator ID, IoT devices ID, vendor's GST number, right? On a Outlook, they all look harmless. Especially when it is alone, it is all harmless. But it becomes identifying one combined with other data. Am I clear? If you combine this with the other data, you can actually identify back someone, right? So it also becomes a part of the personal data. Am I clear? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So every time you are clear, you can please use the chat option. So I will also be sure that all of you are in sync with what we are discussing, right? Okay. And think of this. Aggregated numbers like total plant output are not your personal data, right? But your systems combine dozens of small IDs every day. That's exactly where privacy risks quietly build up, right? For example, let me go to this. Yeah. So you will actually hear a handful of acronyms, as in just short forms, short words, right? Thrown around when you talk about privacy, usually, right? So we talk about PII, PHI, SPI, PCI, DPDP, and so on, right? So before even we start talking about or doing this webinar, we need to understand the basics, right? Let's quickly touch upon what is PII, PHI, SPI, PCI, and DPDP, right? So PII is the broadest term here. Personally identifiable information, not owned by any one law. Am I clear? That is PII. I'll come to an example after this, but I just want you to consume what I'm saying, right? Number one. Number two, PHI. PHI is usually specifically for US HIPAA term, right? HIPAA is healthcare term. So a plant's occupational health clinic record is still personal data under DPDP. It is just not legally PHI in this particular scenario. Am I clear? Excellent. What is SPI? SPI meaning shifts depending on which country's law you are reading. So always check on the source, right? Sensitive personal information. Some countries call SPI as PSI also, personal sensitive information. Okay. And the next one is PCI. We all must have heard about PCI DSS, PCI QSA and all that, right? Payment card industry, right? So data like OTPs, data like cardholder authentication, etc. These are all part of the PCI, right? And the last one, DPDP, right? So DPDP, there's no separate sensitive tier here, right? So please be mindful. And here is one that actually surprises people. DPDP itself has no separate statutory sensitive personal data tier. Okay. So I just want you to understand. Okay, I think there are some questions coming on the chat also. I will keep a note of it. Are there any prescribed Indian standards like 27,001 for the methodology or organization adopted?
That's because I have asked them to post all their queries, which we can pick up after the session.
All right, ma'am. So we'll make a note of it and
yeah,
right.
Sure.
So we quickly will touch upon the next slide, but before that, PII, PHI, PSI or SPI, PCI, and DPDP. All good? Okay. Now let us take one single example where we cover all of this, right? Here. So are we able to see this particular screen?
Yes.
Okay. So look at this. There is one service ticket. Okay, one service ticket that we usually see on Jira ticket or support ticket or something of that sort, right? Just think of one service ticket, right? Most of these examples that I've put here are pertaining to a manufacturing domain. So try to connect, you will be able to connect the dots, right? So let's make this concrete with something that every one of you already runs. After sales service ticket. Okay, look at what's actually inside that. Please see there, right? Number one, the customer's name and phone number, that is PII data. Okay, the product serial and the IoT diagnostic logs, that is the device and the OT data. Yes or no? Right. Warranty and the ownership details, the payment of the service visit and the dealer or the technician notes, all are sitting on the same single ticket. Yes or no? Do you find a different ticket for that? No. We find them all in the same ticket. Yes or no? Right. And look at this. This is just one ticket. Multiple labels layered together. Right? I repeat, one ticket, multiple labels layered together. Right? Look at this. Once again, we can see PII data on the first one, name and the phone number. The serial and the machine ID is device data. IoT diagnostic log is OT data. Warranty and ownership is PII data. Service payment details is PCI data, right? Dealers and technician notes is PII data. Am I clear? Okay. Now, what does DPDP ask us to do? In DPDP, there is a clear mandate that data has to be identified and classified. Okay, which means that from this particular service ticket, we have to be able to map each of the fields to PII, PCI, PHI, PSI, and so on. Right? Why is that done? That is done to ensure that those particular data can be masked, can be redacted, can be you can do something later on. So we have to first identify what field, what kind of data it is, what is the severity of those data. Am I clear?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to the next one. Yeah. And again, this is also something that I want to touch upon before we proceed. So look at this, right? Here we are seeing privacy, data protection, information security, cyber security. These are all common terms that I often see people just mix up and use, right? After talking to someone who usually mixes this, I get confused too. I don't know what they're trying to talk. So I just thought I'll just spend a minute here to make you all understand, and maybe most of you already know, but just to make sure we are all in sync in our understanding, I thought I'll put this slide, right? This is probably the most useful distinction I will give you today, right? So one, in privacy asks, should we even be using this data? Am I clear? Privacy, it asks, should we even be using this data? Am I clear?
Yes,
Wonderful.
please.
Yes.
Data protection. Data protection asks, how must we handle this responsibly? Okay, in privacy, should we even be using this data? In data protection, how must we handle this responsibly? Third, information security. In information security is all about confidentiality, integrity, and availability, right? So, how are you ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and availability of those data are maintained, right? And here is one quick example, right? Okay, let me also touch upon this. Cyber security is about how you defend it from attackers. The CIA portion. Am I clear? Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Now, please be mindful. A quick example is, imagine your ERP is fully encrypted and access control. The security team's dream, right? But if your sales team uses the dealer CRM data to profile customer without a lawful basis, I repeat, imagine your ERP is fully encrypted, okay, and it is access control. You put role based access control, you have SSO, you have everything in place. If your sales team uses dealers CRM data to profile customers without a lawful basis, it is still a privacy failure, even an excellent security underneath it. Am I clear? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Clear. Okay. Now, quick thing here. Why does this actually matter to you personally and to your business, right? If you are an individual, a worker's biometric data leaking or customers' warranty details misused for spam, those are real privacy failures, right? And real consequences. Say, for example, I went to a small tea store nearby to drink tea, right? And after I had tea, they asked me my phone number. I said, why do you need my phone number? They said to send the invoice. Okay. So I happily gave my phone number. But what happened is, after 1 week, I get a marketing message from them of their tea and their coffee products, right? So what you have to understand here is the consent. So the consent was, they got my phone number for what consent? For sending invoice detail. But what are they sending? They're sending marketing. They're trying to cross sell, upsell, right? So there is a clear, error here. You had got it for so and so reason, that consent, but you are using it for some other reason, right? So this itself is a flaw. This itself is what one of the key requirements of DPDP is, consent management, right? Let us talk about that a little later, right? For enterprises, this increasingly shows up in the OEM and the global business audits, right? Where data governance clause are now a standard in the checklist item itself, right? So this is not a side of compliance topics alone. It is, in fact, directly connected to your contracts, to your exports, and even your revenues. It looks very simple, but I want you to understand it even connects back to your revenues, right? Okay. Now look at this. I want you to understand the data life cycle, right? I'm sure most of you already know. I'm just trying to put a perspective to this data life cycle, right? So you can just see from first till the seventh, right? First point till the seventh point. First point is the collection of data, use of data, storage of data, internal sharing, external sharing, retention of data, deletion of the data, right? This is the life cycle. Am I clear? right? Okay. Now let us follow this data through its full cycle inside a business using every one of you because you guys already are from manufacturing space, right? So a new vendor coming is onboarded. Okay, for example, the vendor submits KYC documents. That is collection, the first step, right? The vendor submits KYC document, that is collection. Procurement team evaluates them, that is use, right? The ERP creates a vendor master record, which is called the storage, right? Finance team gets the bank and GST details internally, right, for quality, and shares performance data with other teams. Like for example, the cloud platform hosts all of it, right? So if you notice all the 7 stages here, and every single handoff, there is a decision being made about who gets what access and why. Okay, for example, if a vendor contract ends today, okay, can you name every single system still holding their bank details? Right? Please think of this. If a vendor contract ends today, can you name every single system that is holding their bank details today? Right? Just think of that. Most of the organization can't answer that confidently, and the gap is exactly where the regulatory risk builds up. Right? Okay. Now, data changes form, not responsibility. Right? For example, personal data doesn't sit still, it moves through states. Each state carries a different risk, right? So, first, data at rest, data at transit, and data at use. In data at rest, it is sitting quietly on ERP as a vendor master record. In transit, it is a IoT sensor reading, moving from the shop floor to the cloud, for example, right? In use, it's quality inspection calculation running right now. So the structured data in your ERP is usually well governed, but unstructured data like email, WhatsApp, photos is where control quietly breaks. Yes or no? You can actually think about this. In a structured data like your ERP, it's usually governed. You can put controls, you can put restrictions, you can put encryption mechanisms, etc. Right? But unstructured data like email, WhatsApp, photos is where the control usually breaks. So plans often lock ERP down tight, but they forget the same data sitting in unprotected in someone else's inbox or desktop, etc. Right? Okay. Now, this is something that Ramesh sir already covered. So I'm just going to skip this. But one particular line that I just want to say is privacy became a fundamental right in 2017 itself. Right? Earlier bills were withdrawn and redrafted before the parliament passed the DPDPA in August 2023. Right? I want you to remember in August 2023, the parliament passed the DPDP Act. Right? But is that alone enough? No, it is not enough, because but the act and its 2025 rules or amendments, right, must be read together to know what applies today, because there are so many changes that has happened. If you just look at 2023 document, is that enough? That's not enough. 2025 there are amendments, and I think we will also keep getting amendments because of it being digital India. There's so much of digital data and the way it is handled getting managed, right? So right now, what is our concern, right? This is a slide I would want you to focus on, right? Phase 1, 13th of November 2025 is already in force. I repeat, this particular one, phase 1, 13th of November 2025 is already in force. Definition and Data Protection Board itself are already established. Yes, right? Phase 1 over. Phase 2, 13th of November 2026, which is this year, is still upcoming. That is when the consent manager framework and the board's enforcement and the penalty powers switch on, right? You must be actually thinking DPDP arm churches. So why are companies not getting penalized? You're reading about news where it says data got millions of data got stolen, this, that. Then how is it not getting penalized, right? So please be mindful from 2026 November 13th, you will start to see a lot of news on the media that these companies were penalized, they were given opportunity to do it again, reassess and all that, right? So all that you will start seeing more in the upcoming few months onwards. You will start seeing more of it, right? Phase 3, 13th May 2027. This is the big one, right? Because the full operational obligation such as notice, consent, security duties, data principal rights, everything are going to be in full throttle, right? And they are expected to not be pushed. They are expected to be implemented from May 2027 onwards, right? So my honest advice, please treat May 2027 as your deadline. It's not your start date. Please remember that. Oh, we have time till May 2027. We'll start 1 month before. No, please don't do that. Treat May 2027 as your deadline, not your start date. Start building capacity right now while you still have a runway, right? Okay. So look at this. This particular image, DPDP follows digital personal data, right? Okay. So quick question: are all of you able to connect to whatever I've been discussing, sharing? Any questions? I see some are extremely technical. Some are from compliance space. Some are implementation people. So I wanted to ensure this reaches everyone, right? So maybe we call it the beginner friendly presentation today. Right? So are we all in sync? Please type on the chat yes if we are all in sync, if you are all able to follow and understand. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, lovely. Excellent. Okay. So wonderful, sir. Thank you. So considering, see this is a very simple slide, right? DPDP flows digital protection data, right? Okay, now please pay attention. Who does this law actually reach? It follows digital personal data processed in India. So in GDPR, what is the expansion of the word GDPR? Can someone type on the chat? GDPR. It's okay, don't worry, even if it is wrong, that's absolutely fine. Exactly. So general data, right? It is general data. What is DPDP? Digital data. Perfect. So that is general data. This is digital data. That is the starking difference between GDPR and DPDP, right? So there are some caveats. There are some areas which are little gray there, which I will touch upon, but I want you to briefly understand. So who does this law actually reach, right? It follows the digital personal data processed in India. A physical vendor or dealer forms that later gets digitalized, right? If you have something which is paper pen format and which is expected to be digitalized later, it still applies. Am I clear? Yes or no? Right? We are saying DPDP is digital data only, right? So my data is all in pen and paper, so it does not get applied. No. Is it a data that will get digitalized in the future? If it is, then it is applicable. Simple. Right? If you are exporting to India or running a global manufacturing and a global OEM whose supply chain that touches Indian customers or dealers, this can still apply to you, regardless of where your servers actually sit. right? So in GDPR, if you notice, GDPR, European Union, right? So the European Union clearly says that their citizens' data, wherever it is sitting, they want to ensure there's a protection there. Am I clear? Like that, if even if you are exporting to India, you're somewhere outside of India and you are exporting to India, or you're running a global OEM supply chain that touches Indian customers or dealers, this law still applies to you. Am I clear? It does not. In GDPR, you have option where is the data sitting within the country? It is sitting outside the country. Data sovereignty. None of that works here, right? Regardless of where your server sits, this applies. Am I clear? Yes, no. Excellent. Thank you. Right. So there is a publicly available data exclusion, right? But please be mindful, but it is narrow. It is not a license for you to freely reuse the information just because you found it online. Please be mindful. There is a public available data. Okay, there is a data which is already publicly available, but it is narrow. It is not a license for you. It is available in the public, so I can keep reusing it for because you found it online. You can't do that. And if your business touches any Indian resident's digital data, I repeat, very, very strong point, right? If your business touches any Indian resident's digital data, and most manufacturers in this room actually do, right? Which means this law is directly relevant to you, right? Please be mindful. In India, we are the largest UPI or the payment processing country in the world, right? We do so many digital transactions every given second, right? Which means that India, I mean, already with the Prime Minister, we are all towards the digital India movement, right? When it is digital India, obviously all of these would come into effect. Am I clear?
Yes, boss.
Excellent. Thank you. So please be mindful. Every processing chain has an accountable decision maker in this case, right? I want you to understand every time what is a data principal, data fiduciary, data processor, downstream. See, most of you who are attending this program who have read about DPDP or have spent some time would probably know about data principal, fiduciary, etc. Right? But for the benefit of rest of them, I'm just quickly touching upon it, right? So every time a personal data moves, there should be a clear, accountable decision maker behind it. Let's walk through the roles using a dealer example for you all to understand and connect to a small, quick dealer example, right? The customer in the data principle, right? Oh, sorry, the customer here is the data principle. The individual, the data is about. Am I clear? Right. Say, for example, a scooter manufacturing company, right? So, who's the customer? The customer is whoever who buys a scooter or a bike, right? So, one, the customer is the data principle. The individual, the data is all about, right? Number two, the manufacturer, the OEM, right, is the data fiduciary, the one who decides why and how the data is processed and who carries the primary responsibility. Am I clear? Yes or no? Right? Okay. Third, the dealer's CRM platform is a data processor acting on the OEM's instruction and cloud host underneath the downstream vendor, right? So, who's the data processor? The dealer's CRM is the data processor. Am I clear? Acting on the OEM's instruction. And the cloud host underneath is called the downstream vendor. Am I clear? Yes? Perfect. You will often hear that the cloud vendor called sub processors. This is also commonly called as a sub processors, right? AWS, GCP, Azure, Alibaba, all of these cloud Oracle, all of them are called as sub-processors, right? So that is why are they called sub-processor? That particular term is picked from GDPR. In GDPR, they call it sub-processor, and we still follow that, right? And remember, the same organization can be a fiduciary in one activity and also a processor in another activity. Same company, they can be fiduciary in one activity and a processor in another activity. Okay. Now, let us talk about regulator. I want to be precise. The correct name is the Data Protection Board of India, not the Data Privacy Board. Please be mindful. It is Data Protection Board of India and not Data Privacy Board of India. Okay. People have this confusion, so I'm just reiterating. It was established under the Section 18 of the Act, headquartered in the National Capital Region, designed to be digital first in how it operates, right? Once it is fully staffed, which is right now not, once it is fully staffed, its job is to receive the breach intimation. Right now, we have the certain, right? What is CERT, certain? Can someone tell me what is certain?
Indian Computer Emergency Response Team.
Excellent. Yes, sir. So, like certain, there is a mandate that this in certain what there is a requirement that if at all your organization gets breached and there is a data that got lost, you are actually supposed to inform them. You are supposed to inform them, and it is almost like a log register where you have to keep them posted, right? But how many companies are really doing that? They are scared that if they do, their business would get into trouble, right? So to bring a strong and a stringent effect to that, I mean, DPDP has one clause which clearly states breach management, breach notification. Am I clear? Right? Breach management and breach notification are not optional anymore. They are not optional anymore. They are mandate, right? See, there, I mean, I don't want to name a particular NBFC, non-banking financial companies, but in the recent past, you have seen that a lot of banks have got compromised. Their PII data have got leaked outside. And looking at it in detail, there are claims that they don't agree to what has happened. They don't agree to the data breach, right? But think of this: if there is a bank who says I got hacked, right? What will you do if you are the customer of the bank? You have 10 lakh rupees in the bank account, right? And the bank posts a message on the media saying that they got hacked. What would you do? Would you be okay? Immediately, we'll all run to the bank, try to take all the money or try to transfer the money. Yes or no? Honest answers, right? Yes. So, it is important that today, after DPDPA, you have to inform the breaches, right? Here is one important caveat. I verified carefully as of today, right? There are no chairperson or members who have been officially appointed in the Data Protection Board of India.
Still, it is under formation.
Yes, right. And that is exactly why you don't see news articles saying companies got 50 crores fined, 250 crores fined, which has still not happened because there is no proper team set up and running yet, right? And in fact, for your information, I saw news on MeitY's website saying it invites application for the post back in May 2026 for the chairperson and members post, right? So feel free to apply if you are interested. Okay. Now, people love calling DPDP as India's GDPR. Let me repeat, DPDP and GDPR are different. Both are big data protection laws, yes, but remember DPDP, the terms are same, but They are not twins. They are different. GDPR is broader in scope because it's general data. DPDP is about digital data, right? The roles roughly map. For example, data principal to data subject, data fiduciary to controller, but roughly, not specifically, roughly. GDPR gives you close to 6 lawful bases, including the legitimate interest as such, right? But in DPDP, it relies mainly on the consent plus narrowing on the list for specified legitimate uses, right? And on the penalties or the fines, GDPR scales with the global turnover up to 4%, usually up to 4%, because they didn't follow and the fine applies. But DPDP uses a fixed rupee ceiling, which is somewhere around 50 crore per instance to all the way up to 250 crores. Imagine that, right? There is no percentage here. They say 50 to 250 crores. If there are companies who are just operating in a few tens or 20 crores, they will actually have an impact on this, right? Sir, can we have the recording of the session? Absolutely, sir. I will share it to the team and they can circle back to you. Right? So, borrow GDPR's discipline if you're already familiar with it, but comply with the DPDPA's actual content, right? Mr. Jairam, recently we had two big banks' data has been breached. Is there any action and penalty imposed? Sir, if at all the DPDPA board had a chairman and the members in place and actively looking at this, they would have been heavily penalized. But right now, I don't see that. I mean, at least on the internet, that's posted anywhere. Right? Okay, this is about. Okay. In another 10 minutes, I'm going to ensure wind up, so we will have the demo. So yeah. So the data fiduciary carries the primary accountability, and the obligations really come down to a handful of disciplines applied consistently. Okay. Also, lawful purpose, clear notice, valid consent, reasonably secure safeguards. You should have proper vendor governance, defined breach response, sensible retention, and accessible grievance handling, right? So please be mindful. These are going to be the core activities, right? Most of you probably already are doing one or two pieces of this already, right? But you don't have a structured system or a process in place yet, right? The real work here is to make it consistent and documented. Like you have a log or an audit trail, you have everything documented, noted, right? Like that, you should have this done. Also, please be mindful, children's data deserves its own call out here because we usually miss out this. So I want to specifically mention this. Children data deserves to be specifically mentioned. Under DPDP, a child is generally anyone under 18. Okay, I repeat, under DPDP, a child is anyone, it is defined there. It is a child is generally anyone under 18 years old, and processing their data typically needs verifiable parental control. Am I clear? And something very interesting here, say your son is 17 years old, right? After 1 year, the child is now not considered a child anymore. He's become an adult. So you have to do a revalidation and recheck of all that and consider him as adult going forward from when he touches 18. Am I clear?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Right. So see how interesting. And if you are a company that operates like OTT platform, Netflix and so on, right? You will have 3 or 4 profiles. It shows your name, your father's name, mother's name, and there is something called the kids profile, right? So there are movies that would be classified to be watched for kids, right? But when you capture the date of birth of the kid, you should do a revalidation when he touches 18 as a OTT platform, and you should validate it. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a quick example that I thought I should let you know, because you were very interesting to me. That's directly relevant if you're also in the FMCG, consumer durables, or run dealer showrooms where minors are often present with the parent. Am I clear? Excellent. Compliance technology works as a loop and not as a checklist item. So usually when we talk about HIPAA, PCI-DSS, GDPR, there is a people generally come for audit with the Excel sheet checklist, right? Which typically means there is a checklist, and here it is more like a loop and not a checklist, right? Everything we have covered so far is what you must do. This slide is what runs day to day, right? Start the discovery and classification, because see, this is the most important. You have data sitting in your DB, right? So you have to first identify the data, classify data, then do the gap analysis and so on, right? So start with discovery and classification, because you can't protect the data you have not found or labeled. Yes or no? You can't protect the data which you have not found or labeled. 2, from there it flows to consent and access control, encryption, masking, safe storage, etc. See, there are CRMs where your employees usually can see the email IDs, phone numbers of the customers' data, right? But there are options where you can mask it, where you can redact it, where you can encrypt the data and have safe storage and the retention for that. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Excellent. Then loss prevention and breach notifications are your safety nets, right? Regular audits, governance, and close the loop by proving it's all working. You should have a regular, it's more of a governance rather than, okay, once in a year I do this checklist. No, it is a governance. There has to be a system that constantly adheres and monitors. Okay. Then unified compliance management sits at the center. It's a layer that ties all the 8 pieces together into one single stack instead of 9 disconnected tools. Am I clear? I want you to just think of this. Don't even answer, right? Just think of this question. Which of these 8 pieces does your organization already have? And which one would you think is your biggest gap? Just think of this. Which of these 8 pieces does your organization already have, and which one would be the biggest gap? Think of that. Yes, consent management. Yes, right. Let us hear from rest of them. Out of this, what do you think is the biggest gap in your organization? Okay. Okay. Now let's see this. Okay, please be mindful. DPIA is really just a structured way of asking, should we actually be doing this? As simple as that. Think of this. DPIA is as good as doing a structured way of asking, should we actually be doing this before you launch something, or before you launch an app or something of that sort, right? The sequence is simple. Describe the processing test necessarily, identify possible harms like threat analysis, assess the likelihood of it happening or occurring, and then mark a severity to it, then reduce and approve what is left. Am I clear? Right? So please pay attention. Can a badge or a PIN number achieve the same result with far less risk? Who receives the facial template for how long? What happens if the data of the facial template leaks, for example? Right? Think of this. It's like a plant or a manufacturing unit plant's floor. Facial recognition for the shop floor attendants. Okay. So this actually is a very, very important line item. One accuracy note I want all of you to pay attention. Periodic DPIA is mandatory, right? And additional obligations specifically around significant data fiduciaries for everyone else. It's still excellent risk management framework in place, right? But please be mindful. To tell it in short, it is like, should we actually be doing this, right? This is exactly about the DPIA. Now, what is ROPA? ROPA is, this is also the audit logs or the audit trial, right? Please be mindful. One, ROPA stands for Record of Processing Activities, right? ROPA is Record of Processing Activity. Explicitly is the GDPR terminology, okay? The DPDPA Act itself does not call it ROPA anywhere. But since GDPR is quite popular and we all are comfortable using it, and at times people call it GDPR 3.0, 4.0 is DPDP and so on, right? So just to keep it short, we also start using the term. So why does it still matter? Because keeping the processing register, even without the legal label, is genuinely useful for DPDP accountability, right? One. Number two is, take predictive maintenance as an example. Okay, operator sensor logs and the device IDs, for example, feeding a model that predicts equipment failure. Okay, a real register would also track the systems involved, the vendors, any data transfers, the security controls, who owns, who does not own, all of that, right? That is called the real register. So you should have that as a part of it. Am I clear? Right? Okay. Okay. DSAR. So before I touch this, let me quickly come to this one, right? Yeah. A breach is more than a hacker. A wrong recipient email to a dealer or a vendor. Imagine what would go wrong. How big impact it would be, right? Number two, exposed cloud ERP storage bucket. A lot of times publicly accessible S3 bucket data gets leaked. Three, a laptop that is lost with vendor bank details. Imagine. Four, ransomware on a IoT or OT plant. How impactful these can be, right? So there is no minimum harm threshold here. Every breach gets notified regardless of the size. And as I told you, in certain or sector regulator reporting may still apply separately, but this is important. Certain reporting is on top of this only. Okay, so penalties can reach up to 250 crores. So let's talk the numbers, because it's usually the slide that everyone's attention actually is full, right? Okay, now 250 crore rupees is the ceiling for failing to take a reasonable security safeguard. The single largest number on schedule, and it is the largest, that the most common failure, in, at least in India, it is a highest fine that can ever be applied. 250 crores, right? Two, the breach notification failures. There has breach notification failure. See, I'll tell you, every company, you can't say that you're 100% safe. If someone says you're 100% safe, they are either lying to you or they don't know the subject, right? So it is inevitable. You can do mistakes. Systems can do mistakes. Something can go wrong. So breach notification failures and children data failures can reach 200 crores. Right? Please be mindful. This particular slab is 200 crores. Significant data fiduciary failures up to 100 crores. Right? It's somewhere around 100 to 150 crores. Which one? This is significant data fiduciary. And the broader residual category is up to 50 crores. Am I clear? Yes. I'm sure in another 6 months to 1 year, you will 100% read messages on the internet, news articles about huge companies getting penalized because they didn't keep the critical data safe. 100% I'm telling you, this is going to happen, right? All what we are doing is a precautionary measure of trying to avoid all that, right? Okay, these are statutory maximums, okay, not automatic fine. It is not that this happens 250 crores, this happens 200, no, not like that. It is almost like a pro rata basis. You have a discussion, you negotiate, and all that will happen, but these are statutory maximums, right? These are not automatic fine. The board actually weighs this with the duration, mitigation, impact, in all that, right? So if one incident triggers multiple other incidents and that is causing multiple other failures because of weak security and late notification, let me tell you, be prepared. You are going to get a penalty notice from the DP, the Data Privacy Board of India, right? Okay. So by far, do you have any questions for me? Okay, so last one company. Okay, like what Mr. Hanumantra says, company has to close. That's very true. So this is my last but one slide. I'm going to take another 2 minutes more, then pass it to Bala. Bala, I would request you to be prepared. So let's
Sure.
cover this one. Thanks, Bala. So today we have actually covered a lot, and I just try to keep it for the general audience, right? I did not consider that the audience are extremely from the governance risk
Yes,
compliance background or technical background. So I just wanted to ensure my language resonates with them. They are able to connect and understand to what I say, right? So today we have actually covered a lot, from what a personal data means through what exactly rupee figures in the fines can actually talk, right? Let's close with something that you can actually act on after this program today, right? Like a 5-step process. One, please make a note of this 5-step process. One, go back to your company, discover your data and how the data flows. I repeat, go back to your company tomorrow, make a note of discover your data, where all your data is sitting. Discover that, right? Is it sitting in S3 bucket, in your laptop, in storage network, in backup, all that, right? Number one. So discover your data and its flow. Two, decide your purpose and the legal route. Three, design your notices and consent, right? And also privacy policies and all that. Four, control your security and vendor. Five, ensure you have a clear audit trail to prove it with records and audit logs, right? So tomorrow morning, please choose one process, like for example, say vendor onboarding. So dealer CRM data, shop floor IoT sensor data, and map it with your personal data and where it comes from and where it goes, the flow, etc. And most importantly, you should also note when the data should be deleted or when it should disappear. It is not only about the data ingestion, but also the data that goes out of the system. Am I clear? Okay. So this is just a small assignment that I want you to do. Please do that. It is, I don't want you to solve everything in day one. Just one step at a time. Start one real process. Follow the data honestly. Do it honestly. If you are not going to engage a third party organization to do these audits, it's absolutely okay. What I'm saying is, please take it up seriously. Have an internal team set up, and please do this exercise honestly, right? I hope you all had something or the other to learn back from this session, and I'm not going to take up a lot of time, but I have one feedback session. But before that, I would request Bala to go ahead and take it from here, right? So once again, thank you everyone. You all have been a wonderful audience. Thank you, Rama ma'am. Thank you, Ramesh sir. Thank you, Ram sir. It was such a pleasure to meet all of you. It was such a honor to have this particular program. You all have been a wonderful, lovely audience. Looking forward to connecting with you. I'm quite active
Thanks.
on LinkedIn.
No, I want to say something, but thanks, Mr. Sendil, for covering the entire DPDP Act in line with the GDPR.
Thank you, sir.
And it's a wonderful session, and we enjoyed a lot about the importance of DPDP and how to board on that, and what are the preventive measures has to be taken by in the organization in the interest of the stakeholders. All these factors we have taken into very it's on live, and we will do it. We will ask the audience also to make a note of that, and they will do it from at least from tomorrow onwards, stage by stage.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Your words really mean a lot, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, definitely. And also one more thing, what I suggest is the organization, they need to create some kind of awareness program to the employees on a regular basis.
Absolutely, sir. Yeah. And I think this is also a kind of an awareness for organizations.
Yes. They need to do it.
Absolutely, sir. Good that you all organized, and I hope that everyone has something back to take back from this. Thank you, sir.
Excellent presentation, sir. Hats off to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
It actually started from the basic level to the maximum implementation level for particularly from the angle of a manufacturing sector.
Thank you,
Really,
sir. And
very
in
good
fact,
idea,
sir,
thank you,
this
sir. Thanks for
particular
your
demo that Bala will share, it is actual hands-on. Like what I spoke, you can actually connect to every single point that he's going to show. And for people who are attending this, I think this is the most important portion of the presentation, where you already get an idea of what you should do for getting DPDPA implemented. And trust me, it is not really that hard. It is not a very hard thing. If you have, a commitment of getting it done, and I think for a reasonable small to medium scale companies, you should be able to do it in a span of 2 to 2.5 to 3 weeks itself, right? So it is really important you all put in the right thought and mind, and I'm sure it will shape up pretty well. And this particular demo, I'm looking forward. I'm sure you all will be able to appreciate. Thank you very much. Over to you, Bala. Thank you.
One more thing I want to one more thing I want to stress about this importance of the DPDP. Even though the organization has covered ISO 27, got the certification of ISO 27 2022, still they need to do the DPDP. They need to perform the data privacy impact assessment, and it's a subset of ISO 27000.
Yeah, thank you all. Thanks a lot, Vinod, for explaining everything in good detail. Thanks a lot. Hello all, this is Bala. I'll just quickly run through a demo of how you can implement DPDPA with the tool. Please confirm if you're able to hear me well and you're able to see my screen as well.
Yes.
Excellent. Thanks. So DPDPA has 5 core pillars, right? Data classification and labeling, concern notice and obtaining concerns. Then you've got breach notifications. Then you've got vendor contracts and analysis, and then you've got the technology pillars, encryption, tokenization, access control, those things. We'll spend 2 minutes on each of those, right? We start with data inventorying and classification. So the platform Physogeny gives you a data classification engine, and I'll take you to that. So you can search for example, the credit card number. You search for that. You initially register all of your data sources. So I've got 2 databases and an S3 bucket. You can see them here. And then, for example, today, if a customer of you comes and says, delete all my data or modify my data, we know where all it resides. Let's start with searching for customers whose phone number is 919000001, right? Now, we've got this number. Sorry. Now, this is present in these databases and these files, right? And it is not just, it can be in any format. You add an hyphen, you add a space, it still works, right? This is the data classification. So unless you know what you have and where you have it, you cannot delete or modify, you cannot honor a DSAR request. So the data classification engine gives you that. It is not just that. You, in the platform, you see a summary of it to tell what is PII, what is sensitive, what is not sensitive, and why is it a PII, right? You see columns, which columns are PII, which columns are non-PII. You get all of this from the engine. This is the first pillar. The second pillar that we look at is the concern management. So the platform gives you a concern management with which you can integrate. That does several things for you. One, it populates your ROPA, which we know Vinod explained in detail a few minutes ago, right? The ROPA, which is a GDPR terminology, tells you what data you're processing and for which purpose you're processing, how long do you hold the data, all of that. You can see that in this table in a very clear, obvious way, right? So it tells this is retained until the date. This purpose is for authentication. It's on the source. It collects name and email. It is retained until someone withdraws their consent, and it is mandatory, or it can be opt-out. So you see all of this in the ROPA. Likewise, DPIA. DPIA is, DPIA sort of tells you what is the impact of the data that you do, and should I be doing this? Right? They explain it in a very nice way. Right? This tells you what purpose you collect data for, and what are the rights enabled, right, or not. What is, if there is SDF, what is the due diligence they do, and what is the risk? You can track your risk via that. And also you've got DSAS. So the consent manager, so consent management will give all data principals an ability to make data modification, data access requests. There are 5 types of them: access, correction, erasure, grievance, and withdrawal. All of these are enabled by a consent management and CISO Genie access, a system of record that you can show to an auditor or to the Data Protection Board of India if there is an audit or if there is a question. And now comes the breach notification part, the third pillar. Now, normally when there is a breach, you're already under pressure to mitigate, reduce blast radius, contain it, all of that. Right now, it's going to be hard for you to build a proper email and modify the Board of India, modify the Data Protection Board of India. What this does is, it gives you a very simple, easy way to prepare an email. You just have to fill in the placeholders. You copy this and send an email to your board. It could be to the internal stakeholders. It could be to any of them. We have a template for all of that with all the data here. You just have to copy and paste it, or copy and send it. It's just a template fill up that you have to do. Now comes technology controls. So the platform gives you the ability to track every single thing that you have to do for DPDPA via tasks. So you have a list of all tasks that you have to do. You assign them to people, and then you say, this is a demo where we've got both 27001 and DPDPA. So you choose only DPDPA. You go one by one. You set a deadline, an owner, and get it done. Right. This takes you right from the rule number 3, rule number 4, Act clause 4, all the way to clause 16, 17. It does a process with the rule and gives you a easy way to implement everything that a data fiduciary or a data processor should do for DPDPA. Any questions on what we have seen so far? We've seen 3 of the 5 pillars.
Yeah, please proceed.
Great. Now, to do all of this, to implement the technology controls, you need to define what your intent is and how you want to achieve that. That comes via the policies and procedures defined. Right? You can go through an approval process. You can disseminate the policies to all of your employees so that they're aware what the organizational policies are, and then you establish those policies. Tell you what is to be done. The procedures tell you how it has to be done. Right? The platform gives you all of that. You get reasonably good defaults that keep security as the core of it. But you can modify it to suit how your organization performs it. You've got data classification and handling procedures, say, that tells how you have to handle data. You get the entirety of the procedure built in. If you want to modify, you can, but you get everything out of the box. And now moving on to the next one is vendor contract. So in DPDPA, the data fiduciary is responsible for data leak, even of the data processor. But having said that, the law explicitly says that you should have a valid contractual obligation with your vendor, which is the data processor. So if you have a vendor that is holding PIA data in this platform, you can say that you can mark that as a data PIA holding data processor. You can upload the data. You can upload the contract you have with that vendor using this tool, and it will give you a very simple comparison of whether the contract that you have got is fully in alignment with the DPDP Act, or are there missing clauses. This gives you a reasonably good safeguard on whether you've got all of your security controls in place in the contract as well, so that it's not just you who maintain the controls, but even your data processors or sub-processors maintain them. This covers the vendor aspect of it. Now the platform itself, in connection with the data classification tool, is what will help you achieve DPDP compliance. Like Vinod said, in most cases you can achieve this in a 3-week window if you start, even if you start today, right? You start with data classification, then you establish your consents and notices. That will give you data minimization, make sure you collect only what is needed, nothing else. Then you go through the implementation tasks, which will help you implement all the technology controls. Then you establish your contracts with the vendors, and then you've got, if at all something fails and if there is a breach, nobody is 100% breach proof. You've got your breach templates that help you prepare and notify the data protection board in a timely manner. And so there's a very quick, very rapid walkthrough of the platform. Any questions?
This one is a cloud-based platform, Bala.
Yeah, this is a cloud-based platform with options to run on-prem as well, if at all there is a specific need.
Okay. And you need to configure it according to your data sources, prima facie, and all those things like any other solution to scan through the databases, either on the cloud or your non-cloud information, especially your unstructured data, so on and so forth. Correct?
That is correct. So
it is driven by the policies that is adhering to that beneath, so that it puts the right controls right in place, so that those templates are those processes are observed.
That is correct. Also, the platform comes built in with over 270 integrations for you to connect with your, say, cloud provider, identity provider, HR provider, etc., to validate if you've got the controls in place. Right? That is
Just the interest of the product, I left my email address there for your reference in this chat. If you mind, just have a contact. Thank you. Bye.
Absolutely. Just to elaborate on that, the data classification engine alone runs on-prem because your databases will never be exposed to the internet, right? It is something that you have full control over. So the classification.
Sorry, I lost it actually. So you do not have a classification here, or you have a classification?
We have a classification engine that alone is always on-prem. The platform itself is a SaaS platform. The classification engine is on-prem because it has to connect to your databases and data sources that are inside your network. So because of this engine runs on-prem, always on a Linux machine with a specific configuration.
Just a curiosity question. If an organization is already invested in a solution like Walden James sort of things that is already in place, and a DLP of force point is already there inculcated, if you are able to sniff through those characteristics into that tool, so that you can utilize and leverage this tool from your tool.
Yes, that much. If you have a DSPM solution, we pull from that.
So that means you already have that, the tags are already there. The organization already get classified, but prima facie now it's the scanning it across the outside of the organization in the cloud as well. So will the tool will help you to leverage this existing instead of investing or trying in, because your own solution is within your solution, that might not be that scalability like a Walden James or a Force Point. This is my question.
That is correct. We work with Purview, and we've worked with a few DSPM solutions already, and we can expand to other DLP solutions. But what you say is correct.
Thank you.
The classification is only if you don't have anything else. If you have a DSPM, we pull from that.
Excellent. And it is in the market, we do have a lot of products. So you're also pitching in the pedigree of that level. Like, for example, we have security.ai, which focuses on GDPR and this one. And we have other products like a OneTrust. So I don't go to that extreme level, but at least coming down, where you sit that product, your product is in that pipeline, or is it something that so customized to the Indian environment?
No, this is global. We work very closely with Vinod's team where we support.
Like, okay, let me come down. Like, it's something that we can compare this with the GoTrust.
GoTrust, So no, we work with GoTrust, but we are a GRC platform. GoTrust is a privacy management platform. We are
That's
more
exactly
like
my next leading question also. See, now the overall is a GRP platform. So now you integrate with the existing privacy platform if an organization already invested in it. So you are also able
correct.
to leverage that as well.
Yes, we are. We are we leverage that as well. That is correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
Sure, thank you. Anything else that we want to see or explain about? Any questions on the demo?
Does this work on multiple licenses, user licenses?
Could you elaborate on that, please? Meaning, this is a. I
So,
mean,
so
this.
uh,
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
no, in an enterprise version, it's on a cloud. This thing, so multiple users. It's across the organization. You allow multiple users to work on this parallelly, or how is it?
Yes. Yeah. Based on subscriptions, we have multiple tiers, and yes, you have multiple. There are multiple
Nah,
users who can configure. That is correct.
No. The question that Madam Rama is trying to do is how you are licensing it per user, or it is on the context of the organization data stores. How it is the pivotal point of licensing. How it is comes.
So there are multiple plans. Each plan
okay,
has a specific set of users.
right. And will this also allow kind of giving an access to your suppliers, stakeholders, if an organization wants to give them an access also?
Yes, you
uh,
can.
is it possible?
Yes,
Not
absolutely possible.
external stakeholders, because it's all about sometimes a supply chain compliance also. And so can this I'm just asking sometimes, because today not only the enterprise compliance, the supply chain compliance also is becoming key in the process.
Yeah.
So the external stakeholders also can have access to this, right? Or you can also, whether through this, whether we can also integrate and try to log into the licensing, a similar platform of the suppliers, supply chain, the vendors,
Yeah, you
if they
can
have,
grant access.
they have a similar, such kind of integrations are also possible. I'm asking.
It
For
is
example,
possible. Yes.
uh,
Mhm.
uh, uh, because Tally and all of them accounting fintech products and all, it happens sometimes. So we have to give this access to some of our vendors in the process and things like that, external stakeholders. So all these
Yeah,
integrations are possible, is it? Right.
it is possible. But specifically for vendors, what we do is you send a due diligence questionnaires. Then the vendors have their own login to a separate view of the portal where they respond to
Uh,
the questionnaire. Then there's a vendor risk assessment that is conducted offline by the
oh,
platform automatically. Vendor
okay.
due diligence is to separate you. They have
Yeah, but
access to that.
that is what it is. Then only it actually becomes complete and more
Yes.
meaningful. Otherwise, it becomes an isolated one. Okay, thank you. It
Yeah,
can
it
be
is possible.
hosted. Can be hosted on an organizational server, or it's all on a cloud, complete cloud.
Both are possible. This is by default cloud, but for if you need it on-prem, it is possible via a local Kubernetes kind of deployment. That also is possible.
Right.
We have both options. Yeah.
So this is done only for DPDP or the CISO Genie, or have you also mapped the GDPR also?
It supports GDPR and CCPA 27701. It is
Or
for global GRC platform with about 40
so you're
standards,
covering
frameworks,
all
and
GRC.
regulations.
Global GRC is also part of it.
Yeah, 27001 SOC 2,
Right.
all of that.
Okay.
AAMS, all of that. Yeah.
Anything in the regional this thing, local language, or it's all in English? I'm just asking.
No,
But
I mean, it is right now in English. We have the ability to support the UI in regional languages, but not the Act itself, because
okay,
Act is in English, but
okay,
uh,
okay.
the UI can be in regional languages if there is a request for that. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you, ma'am.
Apart from, sorry, Bala, apart from GDPR, in case if other countries like Australia, USA, they're having a privacy shield. Australia, they're having the data protection law. Singapore, they're having a different data protection law. Country to country, it may differ. How the
Correct.
product, how your coding product is going to integrate with this
Sure,
when
sir.
it
So
comes
we
to
have an internal.
GDP?
Yeah. So we have. I'll see if we can quickly show that we have an internal mapping engine, with which we're able to map multiple So we support PDPL. We are also working on case-based PDPL. We already support the Cybersecurity Act in Ghana. We support CCPA. Right? So we have this thing called control mapping, where we map multiple controls from across the world to an internal set of controls. Right? The intent of controls remains same, be it PDPL in UAE or Saudi Arabia or the Singapore Senior Protection Law. The intent is largely same in more than 80% of the cases. So we map it to an internal control, and we have a built-in internal tool which, if you given any new act that comes in, within a week we are able to map it to a system and bring it to production. Right? So even if you want to have the privacy law of a new privacy law from another country, we can do that on the platform.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking is because large-scale organization, they are having tie-up with different countries, so they need
Correct.
to resist the DPDP also
Correct.
for the sake of
Yes,
the business continuity.
definitely. They can have DPDP and GDPR here, and UAE or Saudi Arabia or any other country, if they enter into that geography, they can add that as well here. It is all, they'll get a single dashboard of all their privacy compliances.
It's all parameters.
Yes.
A quick question: this platform, are you also creating something like credentialing for this of the people and personal certification? Kind of validating the skills of the people. This is about enterprise solution, but global focus is now on credentialing programs and personal certification. Whether something like that is also inbuilt, I just wanted to check.
We have a training program. I mean, you can assign
Okay.
a DPDP kind of training, privacy training to your employees, and it has a built-in quiz program as part of it. So when you subscribe for DPDPA, you get that as well by default.
Okay, but not as such any skill certification or a credentialing or even a micro credentialing programs, because these are all the global uh, conversations that are happening on people skill management. That's all
No,
I
I think that
wanted to know. Yeah.
sure. I think there is an LMS with that, right? I could be wrong, but Vinod might know that. Yeah. So,
Right.
but yeah, there is something that is outside the platform that we have for privacy training. Yes, that is, the platform includes the entirety of it, but just for upskilling and skill development, there is a platform as well.
Oh, it's a separate one, right? Okay then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe you can also share that also. Any link to that for our audience
Sure.
to pick up. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
Is the demo done or still?
No, I'm done with it. I'm
Please.
just.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Please, please,
Yeah.
please.
No, I'm done with it. I'm
Yeah,
done with
it's
it. I'm
done.
done. Okay.
Any questions from the audience? There are questions in the chat box also. Ramkumar sir, and maybe a lot of questions in the chat box. We can ask Vinod to explain. And that
Yeah, sure.
feedback also, please put that feedback on the screen, that QR code for the feedback, so that audience can pick it up and then they can
Yeah,
submit
will
the
do.
feedback later.
Will do, man.
Questions now, you can take it. Any questions?
Mr. Hanumantarao Mudmal has asked, is it applicable to MSME?
Vinod, maybe you can just pick up
Yeah,
those
I'm sorry.
questions.
Sorry, I was on mute. I didn't
All
No,
realize.
no.
right.
He has
So,
asked
It's
whether
open
is it
house.
applicable to MSME?
yes. So, irrespective of the size of the organization right now, may it be a small proprietorship firm or a private limited, irrespective of the size and revenue right now, the statement holds that anyone who is touching Indian citizens' data have to have it in a certain way, right? It is as good or equivalent to the GDPR. GDPR clearly says their citizens, European Union citizens' data are to be secured in a certain way, right? So that is a reference point for this, and it definitely applies for MSME as well.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Already you have answered one question by It was asked that do we need to control only the personal data or also the crucial data from organization point of view related to manufacturing? I think that you have already answered in your course of.
Yes, sir. I did. Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir. What about physical data? I think that also you have answered.
Yes, sir. So any data that will likely be digitalized, which are right now physical, are also applicable. Yes.
And one question is from Mr. Shoaib Ahmad. Are there any prescribed Indian or international standards or a defined methodology that an organization can adopt to demonstrate compliance with the DPDP Act, particularly for the protection of personal data or PAA? And what would constitute objective evidence of compliance?
Sorry, sir. I missed that question.
No, he's asking whether any following adopting certain international ISO standards, will it suffice addressing the requirements of DPDP Act? That's the
Absolutely, sir. So the idea is, say, for example, in ISO 27001, when in the previous version, there were about 114 controls that we have to be adhering to. Right now, it is 93
93.
controls with additional AI controls that are in place. Right.
Correct.
But if you see, you want to do a SOC 2 type 2 audit, right? It means that about 67 to 73% of controls are overlapping controls, which means if you are already ISO 27001, you are 70% close to SOC 2 type 2 also, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that, interesting part about this particular product, CISO Genie, is that we have close to around 40 plus frameworks already mapped, right? Which means if you are ISO 27001, it will also tell you how much percentage of you are already mapped with rest of the other frameworks, right? It can be PCI, it can be SEBI, it can be, I mean, SEBI has a regulation for the companies to follow, the NBFCs as well, right? So all of that are already mapped, right? And I think that will see, for example, if your company wants to be compliant under 2 frameworks, okay, and you finish 1 framework, now it already feels like a big Herculean task for you to even think of doing another framework, right? So what happens? Looking at CISO Genie already tells you that, hey, you are 73% compliant. You have only 16 controls to be done. If you are doing this, you will already become compliant with your second framework, right?
No, it
And
makes the job. It makes the job easy.
yeah, not just easy, sir. It actually motivates, right? It
Yes,
tells you
yes.
that it's not going to be a Herculean task. You don't need to start all the way from first. Some evidences that you had provided for your previous compliance framework will still apply for this,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
That is one. And something that I really love about this platform is most of the times I see in companies, they ask for vendor questionnaires to be filled, vendor assessments to be done, right? So they give a large Excel sheet and ask you to fill it, right? So what happens is, if you just give that Excel sheet to this particular AI platform, since this AI platform already knows what controls are in place, what policies you have, what procedures you have, what documents you already have, it can automatically map and reply to the Excel sheet with the clause number, reference, and evidences for each line item, right? Usually, say a vendor questionnaire with around 400 to 500 questions take around 4-5 days minimum, 1 week minimum to fill, right? This particular system drops the effort and time drastically, and it helps you to quickly, the turnaround time is usually very quick with the clauses explicitly mentioned with references. That's something that I really love about this. And yeah, definitely about anyone who is keen and who is interested to uh, take the DPDPA journey or any other journey, whoever needs support, we are more than happy to support. And this particular is a platform driven approach, which means that even if you miss a particular control, the platform will keep reminding you to ensure there is a justification and amendment done to that.
Thank you, sir. In fact, you have answered one question from Mr. Sunil. Exactly, he has asked the same content now what you have said. Does the
Okay.
platform provide a measurable compliance score or maturity level to indicate how compliant an organization is with the DPDP Act, along with identifying the gaps that needs to be addressed. So that's it. Just how you have elaborately dealt with that particular topic. Thank
Absolutely,
you, sir.
sir. Absolutely,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you,
Thank
sir. So I think it was a very useful session, sir. In fact, it was an eye opener for everybody. Those who have participated must be definitely thinking that the time that what they have spent is very worthwhile and value added. So I really, from my heart, bottom of my heart, I thank Mr. Vinod and Mr. Bala and also Mr. Ramesh Bhashyam, who is a veteran in this field. Thank you, sir, for setting the context for this particular DPDP Act webinar. And thanks, Mr. Vinod and Vinod Sindhil and Mr. Bala for practically showing how this will be able to implement it at the manufacturing sector level. Really, from the basic fundamentals, you have driven down to us, all of us, taken through the journey of how this can be implemented and combined with Cisogeny. And really, it was a fantastic evening for all of us. Thank you very much. On behalf of CCC, my hearty thanks to all the three gentlemen who have contributed, shared your knowledge to all of us, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Rama ma'am. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks to all
Thank
of
you,
you.
sir.
Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
The recordings are available in the YouTube, and
We will.
the recording link also will be shared to all the delegates who have participated in this webinar. And those who have missed also, they can have an access to the YouTube channel. And please, some of you have shown interest in joining CCC as a member. We'll be in touch with you. All your chats are saved. So our office people will be in touch with you to get the take you further to the membership journey and be part of this great organization, CCC. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you.
you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Mr.
Thank you for
Bala
the opportunity.
and
Great evening.
Thanks, Mr. Bala and Mr. Rama, for the wonderful opportunity provided to us. And thanks to Mr.
Thank you.
Vinod also, in spite
I
of
must
his hectic activities. Personally, I thank you. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Vinod, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Vinod. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bala.
Have a
Thank you.
great
Thank you, Bala. Thank you.
bye. Bye.